So I was clipped to point out that, of course, this business was established in 1986, years before she was born. She did not exist yet. She was but a concept, but an idea. I don't know if we're going full tilt with this, and this is going to be the right wing conservative talking point, where it's like, well, all lives are sacred, and before you even exist, you too can become a co-owner in a bar. Everybody, I don't know if you've heard this. AOC, in her infinite wisdom, espouses to be working class. She espouses to be a bartender. And yet, she may have actually owned the bar in which she worked. That's right. There is nothing less working class than being a co-owner in the job in which you work in. Shame, disgust, revulsion. I hope all of you are vomiting in your mouths right now. And I hope you're not being like my dog and then eating the vomit, because, man, a total sidebar. Like, the one time he got like a little stomach ache, he vomited so much on that same little corner you see over there. And then I was astounded at how fast he started to eat it. It was so quick that I actually had the look on my face where I was I stopped him, but I could only stop him halfway. It was wild. It was like bleh, and then like a couple seconds, and I was like, oh, you poor baby. And then all of a sudden I was like fucking Pac-Man style, and I was just like, oh, what the fuck, what Jesus. And then like had to grab, but I've never seen anyone eat their vomit so quickly. I was like, holy shit, god damn, just going right to town. It's not a bit. I'm just telling a story. Okay, this is surf lore, this is dog lore, this is Chico lore. God damn. All right, let's pull in the Jimmy Dore crowd. This headline will pull in a whole bunch of Jimmy Dores. I can already see it. Nice.
You see this? Huh? You see this? You see what she did? You see this? She's a liar. I told you she's a liar.
And I don't care if anyone says that my Jimmy Dore doesn't sound anything like Jimmy Dore. I think it's astute. I think it's on fucking point. Okay? So there you go. Anyways, everybody, this article from 2018 has made a resurgence on the internet because of this one paragraph. So again, from the LA Times from 2018, in the spring of 2017, before she ended up a 20-year congressional career of Representative Joe Crowley and upset the city's most powerful political machine, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was working behind a bar. She had helped launch Flat's Fix, a taco and craft cocktail spot in Manhattan. That's it. That's the entire basis for today's conspiracy theory. I'm not joking. That's all there was for the quote dumb left to take this and run with this. And can I just say out of the gates, were this true, who the fuck cares? Like, she was a co-owner in a bar. First off, do you understand anything when it comes to class antagonism, when it comes to the exploitation of workers? Like, the difference would be if she was a co-owner in the bar and then she was paying her workers a minimum wage, she was exploiting their labor. Okay, you've got an argument. If any of this was true, which again, the only thing you're basing this off is an article, and it's a little paragraph from this article. Okay, and does no one here have friends who have ever worked in restaurants or bars before? Because I have friends who, yes, $2,500 was all the money they had in the bank, or I have another friend who took out a loan from his parents for $5,000 so he could buy in to a bar, in the other case it was a restaurant, so they would have skin in the game. That didn't make either of them filthy rich bourgeois parasites. That was a little bit of money that they put together to buy into that restaurant and or bar. Again, I who the fuck cares? If this was true, okay? So I'm just saying, at its worst, if we were to grant you that, yes, she was a co-owner in this business, that's it? That's the ... First off, if you've never worked in a restaurant, the idea she had helped launch was enough for you to think that she's a co-owner in a business? I was a dishwasher for a full year in a restaurant, okay? It sucked. it was brutal. It was also fun as fuck. I was young, and at the time, I have no regrets. I enjoyed it. We partied. We often worked inebriated on a whole host of different substances, and it's grueling labor. And if someone said that I helped launch that business, I would never say, well, yeah, and at the same time, Lance, I mean, come on, you were a co-owner, clearly, because you helped launch that business, right? Like, this is fucking restaurant speak. This is how we do. God damn. So anyways, this was enough for a whole bunch of people to run with it, including Jimmy Dore, and today Jackson Hinkle decided it was time for him to launch an investigation and tweet this out. He tweeted out, by taking this the next step further, and all he did was crop out this little section in the bottom here. Let's see if I can do it. He did this. And this was all he tweeted out. So you even took out the source. You even took out where the article is from, the date, everything else. But this was enough to be like, exposed. Exposed. There you go. High-level journalism at its finest. So, of course, myself, a whole bunch of other people put him on blast because, and I'll tell you why, all right? If you want to criticize AOC, there is so much you have to do, all right? There's so much you can work with. There's a range of things that I'm deeply disappointed with AOC, and I think the veneration of AOC is this kind of deity, you know, this beautiful goddess supreme, this Jesus Christo that is going to save us all from the evils of capitalism is absurd, all right? People have taken this so far to the point where they don't even pay attention when she's kind of, you know, doing the old neoliberal talking points. I'm going to interview you now and ask about Palestine, and wow, your rhetoric has really changed from it was, you know, a couple years ago. Maybe it feels like you're part of this giant corporate democratic machine now. All fair dues, all things you can criticize. But at the same time, why the fuck is this the thing that now we're going after her for, of all things? So I was clipped to point out that, of course, this business was established in 1986, years before she was born. She did not exist yet. She was but a concept, but an idea. I don't know if we're going full tilt with this, and this is going to be the right-wing conservative talking point where it's like, well, you know, all lives are sacred, and before you even exist, you too can become a co-owner in a bar. So that's why we need to restrict women's bodies, because otherwise all these unborn babies will become co-owners in time-traveling investment schemes. Who knows? Ryan Grimm posted this out. One interesting detail on the bartender thing is during the primary, AOC and her campaign very much downplayed the bartender's thing, leaned into educator and organizer and other qualifications that were not false, but they weren't her main gig, which was bartending. Another reminder of the classism that persists in our society, struggling or being poor tends to be something people are proud of having in their past, but feel shame of in the moment. You know who was doing a whole bunch of shaming was right-wingers. Right-wingers love being like, who the fuck is this bartender fucking trying to tell me about what I'm supposed to be doing with my monies, you know? Fucking she works at a bar, working class, sick. People, including me, love to tell you that they used to be poor. When they are poor, they do everything they can to shield that fact from people. In the book, I quote the great Dolly Parton lyrics. No amount of money could buy from me the memories that I have of then. No amount of money could pay me to go back and live through it again in the good old days when times were bad. Now, Matt Binder also did an excellent little takedown of this. The taco bar that AOC worked at is owned by three people who run a company called Them Food Incorporated. They also opened the Union Square Coffee Shop in 1990, when AOC was 1 year old, and Live Bait, which opened up in 1987, 2 years before AOC was born. This is hilarious. I completely agree. As someone who lived in New York City my entire life, it's quite well known that the owners of Union Square Coffee Shop, which closed in 2019, rest in peace, also own the taco bar that AOC worked at. It's right around the corner in the same building. Here's the liquor license filing info for the taco bar, Flatfix, which AOC worked at. The corporation which owns it was founded in 1986. AOC wasn't even born yet. And then right away, carrying water for AOC and smearing a journalist. How the binder has fallen. I like this one more. I'm journalism. I mean, you really should do the one where Ralph is pissing himself. Because that seems to be a lot more apropos here, you know? It seems like they're all just pissing themselves in this fury to get AOC in a gotcha. Which again, if you had, which you didn't, you failed horrifically here. Who the fuck cares? Who cares if she was a co-owner in the bar? Do you want a real story? She started a publishing company to be able to promote marginalized voices. There you go. Run with that, you know? AOC apparently is owning class, all right? She started a publishing company.
So, you see this? You see this? This publishing company? Huh? What is she doing here?
Ken Bear Pig, thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome back. But honestly, yeah, chuds, neoliberals, fucking goofball leftists who have no idea, like, what the fuck? Again, there's so many things you could accuse her of. I just don't understand this. So I figured I gotta come clean before they rip me apart for working here. Here's some Lance lore for all of you. So here's a little bit of my family treat. Okay, my papa and my mama. My papa was born in Santiago, Chile. His family immigrated from Catalonia. They left Catalonia because there was a fascist, Francisco Franco, and Francisco Franco was trying to basically purge the Catalonians from the earth. So my family, many members of my family were part of the resistance fighting Franco. They were losing, and eventually my family escaped and traveled to Chile. My grandmother traveled to Chile, where she gave birth to my father. They then emigrated from Chile to Venezuela. You've heard of it. It's the communist dystopian hellscape of which no one will ever return. Once in Venezuela, they started an import-export business, which did quite successfully there, and they managed to raise enough money to travel to Canada, where my dad meets my mom, and he met her at a P&E. He was selling donuts, those little, like those mini donuts. So he was selling mini donuts. That was his job. My mom's was just there for the fun. It was like a carnival. And then she met my dad, and then they did things, and then along comes Lance. Now my mom is from Saskatchewan. She's Indigenous. She's Métis, which is a mix of Cree and French. You know, love her to death. Honestly, so amazing. Super, super cute. Her family is broke as fuck, all right? They are poor beyond poor, and they always have been. She had to escape a horrifying situation, a lot of abuse, a lot of terrible things. I will not go into details. Obviously, it's not my story to share with the world, but I will just say that when she arrives and she's meeting my dad, she is poor working class, and as a result, she was working 2 jobs to make ends meet, you know, all this kind of stuff. My dad was better off. He started his own electrical company in Canada. He has worked and run that electrical company his entire life. He is a builder. He's a tradesman. He builds homes from scratch. It's one of the things he does. He bought property in this little farmland, and he has built 3 homes from scratch with his own 2 hands. He has this weird drive that I will never have to physically build things. But if you went to that home, you would immediately be like, holy shit, there's 3 houses on this property. He must be rich as fuck. And I would have to explain to you, well, he's actually literally built those like from scratch. Like he's laid the foundation. It's just one of his things. He loves to do that. But immediately that would probably be where your mind goes. And then you would be like, well, holy shit, look at this bougie life that the 2 of them come from. I myself have never been poor. I never grew up poor, okay? Even though my mom grew up outrageously poor. But I have lived next to poverty my entire life. My sister, who is my half-sister, unfortunately, was an addict. And she unfortunately lost her life to a fentanyl overdose. And during the latter half of our life, or her life, I worked as much as I could, trying to help her. I was directly in and around poverty most of my life. Both her, my cousins were also hardcore addicts. A lot of the people on this side of the family, unfortunately, due to trauma and just intergenerational trauma, have been incredibly poor, living on the street, all that kind of stuff. I have seen people OD. I've worked in the downtown east side of Vancouver. I volunteered at crisis centers, all that kind of stuff. So when I say that I understand poverty, it's not because I directly grew up poor. I never want to lie about that, but it is because I have been either helping or living with people who are incredibly poor or dying or stuff like that. That's where my own lived experience comes from. So if someone was to say to me, Lance, you can't say that you grew up in poverty. You didn't. And I will respond to you, that's true. I don't lie about that. I don't try and say, well, everybody, I am working class, and I have to show my bona fides right now and tell you all that I'm poor, and because I'm poor, I'm a socialist, and that's what gives me my socialist powers. Much like AOC was a true socialist because she, at the end of the day, worked at a bar. Because she worked at a bar, she has her socialist powers, and that's where. Oh wait, it turns out she didn't. She was a co-owner in that bar. Well, fuck, garbage, garbage, trash human. We should disown her and get rid of her. That's garbage, absolutely garbage. This is all absurd. It's ridiculous. First off, if you want to get down to the theory, all right, the Marxian analysis of economics has nothing to do with how poor you are. Engels, the co-author on a lot of this shit, was rich as fuck. He was the one who was able to afford the printing press to be able to get Marx to be able to publish his works. He was, I guess, a class traitor, if you want to call him that. But just because you came from like wealth in the example of Engels doesn't mean all of a sudden that you are now going to be fighting against the working class or anything of this kind of stuff. Yeah, Kropotkin was an aristocrat as well. Like, your analysis of the world doesn't have to come from your income levels, or it doesn't have to come from your family background. And the idea that we're going to now isolate people who don't reach a certain level of working class or poverty is, like, to me, just tantamount to clown shoesery. Okay? That's why I'm going to call these people the goofball leftists, because what the ever-loving fuck are you doing? What are you fighting for? Like, what are we all fighting? What is the point of all this? If you want to shame AOC because she's not working class enough for you, okay, great. What is this? Achievement unlocked? Have we done a socialism? Is the revolution over, comrades? Have we sufficiently shamed AOC? Have you smelt enough of her shoes to unlock the revolution? Holy shit, well done. Well done, comrades. Let's start it off, all right? A couple sniffs later, and we'll fucking unlock all of it. God damn. Yeah, Lucid put it excellently. Ideological purity is what they're fighting for. Like, here's the other thing. If you want to come to the left, all right, the doors should be wide open. It doesn't matter where you come from. You can be a bougie, aristocratic, fail son or fail daughter or fail MB. There's not enough representation for fail MBs these days. And it's completely fine and valid if you want to come over and help leftist action. In fact, you might have a point of privilege to be able to do great things. That would be absolutely fantastic if you want to do that, right? There's no like minimum fucking requirement. And if you are poor and working class, well, fuck yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are the people who we're all fighting for. I mean, ultimately, we want to uplift the rights and lives of workers everywhere. That's what being a leftist is supposed to be about. Not shaming people who don't meet your requirements. That's the garbage part about all of this. I don't understand. Like, let people in. Let people in who had terrible pasts and want to change and reform themselves. Get into restorative justice. Just because you used to be a shitty ass piece of garbage back in the day doesn't mean that you can't reform yourselves. Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs Cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our wonderful gods, Xander Corvus, VK Jehannam, T. Grow, and Peyton L. Just, may you smite all of our enemies. To our monarchs, Tom Spiker and the Tim Caucus, we are your humble servants, ready to do all your bidding. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, and Jeff Lamb, we shall proudly carry your banner on the online battlefield. To our Knights of the Round Table, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Chronic the Hemphog, Phone Jenny, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Jibby Big Nuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Yopi, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glass and we raise our swords and we salute you.